All right, rumors.
I love rumors, but I wish you just came on with rumors sometimes. I think the rumors, I prefer to speculate than to actually know. What do you got, man?
All right, Tyron Woodley versus Nick Diaz could be in the works for the next world welterweight title fight.
Is Tyron Woodley any relation
to Tyron? To T? How do you say it?
Well, I had it until you said that. Tyron Woodley.
Yeah, it's a hard UFC one. That's why I go T Wood. T Wood.
There you go.
I do it every time. It kills me.
T Wood will keep you safe. All right, so T Wood versus spit it out.
Nick Diaz.
Okay, is in the works. I am going to sell that rumor. If that's a stock, I'm shorting it. I don't believe that. Nick Diaz's last fight was a draw. It was at a different weight class, and it was a really long time ago. I hope that fight happens, and so do the fans. But that one almost seems too good to be true. I'm going to short that.
Okay. All right. Here's some. This has been going back and forth for a while. So Bisping versus GSP. They had this announcement a couple months ago, or it feels like a couple months ago, and it looked like it was going to be targeted for International Fight Week, which is July 9th. I think it's that date. And now GSP's like, hold on, I'm not going to be fighting until September. And Bisping's come out and said, dude, if you're not fighting until September, I'm going to go ahead and fight Romero on International Fight Week. Do you think if they're not fighting until September, Bisping would really go ahead and take that fight with Romero?
No, if they're going to fight in September, then they're going to wait for that fight. Bisping would be on board, George is on board, and the company's on board unless something is changing that hasn't been revealed to us. So no, I don't. But what in the hell is that? Is there a rumor that GSP isn't going to be fighting Bisping International Fight? I've never heard that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's.
Now, why is that though? Was that an USADA thing where he had to be in the pool X amount of time? What's the red tape there? George is certainly ready to fight. He was ready to fight when he came out and said, "I'm ready to fight."
Nobody knows.
How are we getting to September?
Well, nobody knows in so much as about 3 weeks ago. Because we've had a bunch of UFCs. I think we had a pay-per-view and then 2 free shows 3 weeks in a row. Now we don't have one for 3 weeks. Well, I think 2 shows ago, Dana came out and said, "Yeah, we should have that date in the next week." Well, that time has come and gone, and the points that I'm seeing out of GSP is, it's end of summer or September. I'll be out there, and he'll wait.
Yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, you kind of caught me off guard with that one, but yeah, obviously something is up because, they've already spent money on that, right? That was announced, but Joel, you remember the press conference when Bisping showed up and he was drunk? And
loved it.
Yeah, no one really even cared about that fight. Okay, I'll watch that fight, but that was it. This wasn't a big one. And then that press conference is done, and we're like, when is this fight happen? I'm marking it on my calendar now. So they've already spent some money on that. So yeah, to not make an announcement, I do believe that there is something going on behind the scenes, but I sure as hell haven't heard about it.
Well, or maybe they're keeping it quiet because they have one of the biggest cards coming up May 13th.
Is Romero the guy you go after, though? Wouldn't anybody else? Wouldn't it be? I'm just matching styles there. That's a really hard fight. They're all really hard fights, but wouldn't he match a little better with Whittaker? Wouldn't he match? Isn't there some other name you could pull out of the hat?
Well, why not Rockhold?
Well, they've already fought. There's not a lot of parity there, and Rockhold hasn't been in there for a while. Remember, Rockhold gotten his dust up back and forth, and he finally worked through that, and then he's trying to get this Anderson fight. I don't know. I'm just saying it seems like...
So
hey, you know what? You know what, by the way? Anderson just won his fight, and his fight with Bisping was controversial. You could bring Anderson in right now for a championship fight. You're going to get a little backlash you do every time you announce a championship fight. You could bring that fight in right now and get less backlash than you would on T-Word versus Nick.
I agree. And I'd love to see that. Whittaker has this great performance against Jacare, and then now he comes out and says, "Hey, I'm going to sit and wait for a title shot." And I'm like, why? When has that ever worked? And he even came out and said, "I have what everybody else doesn't have. I have time. If somebody else is going to wait a year for a title shot, they don't have time. I'm 26 years old. I have time." But I'm like, yeah, there's some other guys you could be fighting, Mr. Whittaker.
Now, I saw that headline too, and I did not read the article. Here's what I assumed. I assumed that they teed him up on something, and he said, "I would wait." If you're telling me that my next fight could be a title fight, but I have to wait to get it, I would wait. He isn't one of these guys that's now coming out and said, I'm waiting, I'm not fighting anyone, I'm the number one contender. He's not talking stupid, is he? Well, that'll disappoint me if he does that.
He's kind of talking stupid. He's just basically saying, I just took out the number one guy in the world that they just paid a bunch of money for, and he was geared up to go through me and get a title shot. I just ran through him. Why wouldn't I be next? So until I find out, I'm not fighting.
Okay. I mean, I'll tell you how that story ends. Whittaker's going to be fighting somebody next, and it's not going to be for the title. However, and there could be some opportunity in there if the George doesn't happen and Bisping goes after him. But it sounds like Bisping's already played that hand, and he's going after Romero. So no, that's just not going to happen. And it's annoying. And it's annoying. And I'm not turning on Whittaker right now, but I will. If he becomes one of those guys that goes out and has a couple of good performances and all of a sudden is the next best thing, man, we will let you know when you're the next best thing. Don't let us know. We'll tell you.
Okay, bouncing around a little bit.
Bounce. Was that it for rumors?
Yeah.
Oh, darn. Those are fun. Those are fun. I wish there was more. Well, you had one. You were telling me about Nunes versus Shlemenko.
Yeah,
Help me out.
Shlemenko. Shevchenko.
Shlemenko's a Bellator guy from the same region. Come on, give me a break there. Okay. Yeah, she's good, man. I'd like to see that fight. Well, names are hard. Come on. You tell me. Russian names are hard.
Hold on. Let's stop with the words are hard, names are hard. So we've got this bit, words are hard, names are hard. We do this hard thing. In the last week, I've seen two different big advertisements for companies out there using our bit. Have you noticed that? I think you actually called me on one and said, hey, did somebody stole our bid?
Yeah, what did they say? Hiring. It was a resume. It was some resume site, whatever.com for resumes. And they said, hiring's hard.
Yeah, and then there was another one that remodeling's hard. So good. I'm glad everybody's listening to us. Yeah, Garbrandt versus Dillashaw and Nunes versus Shevchenko at UFC 213. I mean, that's not much of a rumor. We already know that's going on. So the question I wanted to ask you is Spike TV was here following you around, and not only do they actually don't follow you around, they actually dictate. What is that like? What is that like? Because the one day that they were in here, and the reason you asked me, hey, what's wrong with you, is because you were in full promo mode, and I was like, well, I'm just going to stand back. Do you get into that mindset because you're doing so many different interviews where you're just rolling all time? And what is that like? Because that is something very, very different than any of us have ever experienced, and I'd like to talk about that.
Oh, really?
A little bit.
Okay, I didn't know that was interesting. Yeah, so they come out, what they call it is fly on the wall. And all that means is, hey, we're going to follow you around. In this case, it was for 2 days. We're going to follow you around for 2 days and just pretend we're not here. Now, that's very hard to do, but that's the scenario. It's kind of like the moments between the moments, a day in a life. And then you sit down, you do your interviews, and you do a little bit of that is planned. But essentially, it's flying. Though I get in a car, they get in a car with me. I go grab a cup of coffee, they come in with me. It's one of those deals. So yeah, we came down to podcast. So there they were, and that's where you encountered them. They were great. First off, really great. Really respectful guys, and they don't have to be. They're writing the checks. I work for them. We do it their way. They tell me to dance. I dance. That's the way it goes. But that's just not how they handled it. They just, hey, we're going to turn this on and a little microphone and a camera, and we'll see where this goes. The gentleman that was doing it, Lee, had worked with Mayweather for 2 years, and so I'm assuming that he did the 24/7s. I don't know what else Mayweather did, but the point is he knows how to do this kind of stuff, and this is just how he wants to do it. He just wants to be an observer. So for me, yeah, no, I don't think much of it, but I can tell you early on when those things happen, it changed the way I spoke. It changed the way I spoke. There's something about when a camera's there and that red light is blinking that there is not a comfort level. The comfort level goes away, and all of a sudden you're performing. Whatever it is, whatever statement you're going to make or talk about, or even how you would order your lunch, there's just a different dialogue, and eventually you get used to it, and no, then you're just yourself. So I don't know that I can answer it today because I have gone through that process a few times, but early on, yeah, I remember it was weird. It was exciting, too. There was a different level of excitement. I don't get excited for it anymore. I kind of take it for granted, which is unfortunate because I think it is kind of an exciting thing when somebody's giving you that kind of attention. And so but I don't still get that kind of a buzz from it. However, they were very nice guys.
Now,